Well, Planned Parenthood, in its annual reports, lists you as a, quote, silver friend, close quote. Do you know what a silver friend means?
I don't, Senator.
That's someone who has donated between $1,000 and $2,500 to Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho. That's in the Planned Parenthood annual reports. You don't know anything about that?
I don't recall. What I recall, Senator, is that my husband had donated to Planned Parenthood, and I think at some point in time they listed me along with him.
Do you remember a case called State v. Westwood?
I believe so, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case, weren't you?
Senator, in reviewing my cases, I think I've been reversed in about 2% of the cases that I've issued. I've issued almost...
Were you reversed in that case, though?
That was a very complicated case regarding sentencing
but
law.
But I'm going to run out of time, and I got a bunch of these.
Okay.
Were you reversed?
That might have been one of the 2% of the cases. I think so. I believe that was one of the 2% of cases.
You remember
Senator.
A case called Personal Restraint of Heiress?
That, I think, was the case regarding whether or not the person had been deprived.
Were you reversed in that case?
That was, I think I was not reversed.
Were you reversed in that case, counsel?
Senator, I think that I wasn't reversed as to outcome, but it was one of the 2% of the cases where the state Supreme Court disagreed with the analysis.
Welcome back to the channel, my fellow patriots. If you believe in God, country, and the Constitution, then you're in the right place. We don't bend the knee to mob pressure, we don't buy into mainstream narratives, and we sure as heck don't stay silent when the Republic is under attack. Today's topic hits at the very heart of our legal system, and our future. We're talking about a Biden judicial nominee who just got grilled, and I mean grilled to a crisp, by none other than Louisiana Senator John Kennedy, in a hearing that every red-blooded American needs to see. If you thought judicial nominees were supposed to be impartial, honest, and grounded in the Constitution, well, brace yourself. Let me just stop right there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations to all three of you. Judge Pinnell, you are a political activist, aren't you?
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. I am a judge on the Washington State Court of Appeals. I don't consider that to be a political activist.
Okay. In 2020, you and 10 of your friends issued a written statement. You entitled it, quote, Statement on Racism, White Supremacy, and Justice. Here's what you said. I'm quoting from you now. Racism and white supremacy currently plague every social, educational, economic, governmental, and legal system. Racism and white supremacy currently plague every social, educational, economic, governmental, and legal system in our state and in our nation. And they have for centuries. Both, you're referring to your state and America, both target Black, Indigenous, African American, Latinx, and other people and communities of color, resulting in entrenched inequality and inequity, manifesting in unjust, unfair, and differential treatment, and yielding remarkably disparate and negative outcomes relative to those experienced by white people. End quote. Did I read that accurately?
Senator, I don't have it in front of me. I don't have any reason to think that you did not read that correctly.
Okay. You are very active in Planned Parenthood, are you not?
No, Senator.
Okay. Well, Planned Parenthood, in its annual reports, lists you as a, quote, silver friend, close quote. Do you know what a silver friend means?
I don't, Senator.
That's someone who has donated between $1,000 and $2,500 to Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho. That's in the Planned Parenthood annual reports. You don't know anything about that?
I don't recall. What I recall, Senator, is that my husband had donated to Planned Parenthood, and I think at some point in time they listed me along with him, but I believe that was a donation.
This is you.
Okay.
And in fact, they say that as of 2018, you've been a donor for at least 10 consecutive years. Is that right?
I do not recall donating them for the last 10 consecutive,
You don't-
10 years before 2018 or 10?
That's as of.
I don't recall, Senator.
Okay, you don't remember. Okay, let me ask you, you're on the Court of Appeal. Let me ask you about a few of your cases. Do you remember a case called State v. Westwood?
I believe so, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case, weren't you?
Senator, in reviewing my cases, I think I've been reversed in about 2% of the cases that I've issued. I've issued almost...
Were you reversed in that case, though?
That was a very complicated case regarding sentencing
But I'm
law.
going to run out of time, and I got a bunch of these.
Okay.
Were you reversed?
That might have been one of the 2% of the cases.
Were you
I think
reversed?
so. I believe that was one of the 2% of cases,
You remember
Senator.
a case called Personal Restraint of Heiress?
That, I think, was the case regarding whether or not the person had
Were
been
you
deprived.
reversed in that case?
That was, I think I was not
Were you
reversed.
reversed in that case, counsel?
Senator, I think that I wasn't reversed as to outcome, but it was one of the 2% of the cases where the state Supreme Court
Do you
disagreed with the
remember a
analysis.
case called Parental Rights of ALK? Were you reversed in that case?
Senator, I think that was one of the 2% of my over 450 cases where there was a reversal.
Do you remember a case called State v. Log Bomb?
I recall that case, Senator. That
Were
case,
you reversed in that case?
that was one of the 2% of cases. I issued an opinion to affirm a conviction, and the state Supreme Court overruled that
You
and
remember
reversed.
a case called State v. Barboza v. Cortez? Were you reversed in that case?
Senator, that case is not coming to mind. Again, I've issued myself personally written over 450
You remember
decisions.
a case called State v. Telvik?
Senator, I think I recall that name. That might have been one of the 2% of
reversed
cases.
in that too?
That might have been one of the 2% of cases,
Okay.
Senator.
Another case, Hendrickson v. Moses Lake School. Were you reversed in that case?
Senator, I recall that case. I think that might have been one of the 2% of cases where the state Supreme Court disagreed with the analysis of another
Were
appellate
you
court.
reversed? You
State.
remember a case called State v. Curry? Were you reversed there?
Senator, I think you're reading off all the cases. I think that's one of the 2% of cases.
Okay. How about a case called a State v. Rathbone? Were you reversed?
That's probably one of the 2%, Senator.
How about a case called Douglas v. Shamrock Paving Company?
Senator, that's a case where I was largely affirmed. The only thing that was a reversed, I included everything, even if it was just a partial reverse. The only thing that I was reversed on was an award of attorney fees. The substance of the law, which was rather new in that case regarding what constituted an investigation for an environmental
So
cleanup.
you weren't reversed?
That part of it I was affirmed.
Yeah, I think that would be a surprise to the Supreme Court that you weren't reversed.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
I'm out of time. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, for
Senator.
your indulgence.
For the record, what is 2% of 450?
I think it's about 11 cases, if memory serves, 11 to 12 cases of the cases that I've written, many of which are grappling with really novel issues. And so that's what happens.
11 out of 450?
Over 450 that I've written myself.
Senators should be so lucky. Senator Booker?
I haven't been right 98.
This wasn't some off-the-cuff comment. This wasn't a slip of the tongue. This was a formal written statement co-signed with 10 of her fellow judges, claiming that every system in this country, educational, economic, governmental, and legal, is plagued by racism and white supremacy. Let that sink in, folks. She believes the very institution she serves is infected with racism. Every single part of it. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear a judge, Someone who holds the power to put people in prison, to take children from parents, to interpret the law of the land, declare that the system is fundamentally unjust. I don't hear neutrality. I hear a radical ideology that's totally incompatible with equal justice under the law. That kind of thinking isn't just misguided, it's dangerous. Because if you believe the system is racist, then the logical next step is to subvert the system. You're not judging according to the law anymore, you're judging according to your politics. And that's exactly the kind of judicial activism that conservatives have been warning about for decades. And then there's this little gem, Planned Parenthood. One of the most radical left-wing organizations in America, responsible for ending over 600,000 innocent lives a year. The nominee has been listed in their reports as a silver friend, which, according to their own definitions, means a donor of up to $2,500. Her response? I don't recall. Really? 10 years of donations and you don't recall? That's not a memory lapse. That's a dodge. And even if we give her the benefit of the doubt, let's say it was her husband, why was she perfectly fine being publicly listed as a supporter? Where was the correction, the clarification, the disavowal? Nowhere to be found. Folks, if you're trying to convince the American people that you'll be an impartial judge, maybe start by not bankrolling the most divisive, polarizing organization in the culture war. Let's take a step back here. Because what this hearing revealed isn't just about one nominee. It's a pattern. This administration is flooding the judiciary with individuals who see America not as exceptional, but as fundamentally broken. Individuals who don't see the Constitution as a sacred document, but as a relic in need of reimagining. Individuals who believe justice must be redistributed based on skin color, gender identity, or political allegiance, not equal application of the law. They don't want judges. They want revolutionaries in robes. Now let's talk about the judge's record. Over 450 written opinions, and she says only 2% were reversed. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the thing. Senator Kennedy read off case after case where she was reversed. And what did she do? Hem and haw, deflect, say, that might be one of the 2%. No ownership. No accountability. No straight answers. And when she was finally pressed on one particular case, Douglas versus Shamrock Paving, she tried to act like being reversed on a key legal issue didn't count because it was just about attorneys' fees. Let me ask you, patriots, do you want a judge who's looking for loopholes in her own record? Or do you want a judge who takes ownership and stands by her decisions with integrity? This is what the left doesn't understand. Judges aren't supposed to be activists. They're not supposed to be warriors for social justice. They're supposed to call balls and strikes. To interpret the law as written, not as they wish it were. We don't need judges who view America as a criminal enterprise that needs dismantling. We need men and women on the bench who understand the sacred responsibility they carry, to uphold the Constitution, to protect liberty, and to treat every American equally, no matter their race, gender, politics, or background. And that, friends, is exactly what Senator Kennedy was fighting for in that hearing. You know, sometimes people ask me, why does it matter? It's just one judge. But that's the thing. These lifetime appointments shape the future of this country. They decide on your gun rights, your parental rights, your religious freedoms. They can uphold the Constitution, or slowly, quietly erase it. So yes, it matters. Every nominee matters. Every vote matters. And if we don't hold the line, if we don't speak up and push back, we will lose the republic that so many brave men and women died to protect. I want to thank Senator Kennedy for having the courage to speak truth in that hearing room. He didn't yell. He didn't grandstand. He simply asked the questions the American people deserve answers to. That's what real leadership looks like. Now it's our turn to step up. Call your senators. Write your representatives. Let them know, we want judges who honor the Constitution, not rewrite it. If this message stirred something in you, if you believe in the rule of law, the Constitution, and the greatness of this nation, then help me spread the word. Like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button. Here on this channel, we don't back down and we don't apologize for loving our country. Until next time, stand firm, speak truth, and never stop defending the land of the free and the home of the brave. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.